All aboard your tech and games caboose. Mobile World Congress is going on today, so Huawei Mate X had their event and they showed off the Mate X, a foldable phone. So this is pretty good, you'd have to say. And it has the Falcon wing fold, so it actually folds pretty flush, and we'll get into all these details in just a second. So let's start off with some of the video. This is going to be a little bit of a comparison between the Mate X folding phone and Galaxy's folding phone. So let's check out this display. This is from Engadget. They did a little 12-minute video recapping everything. And here is the actual display. So the Mate X is a 8-inch unfolded display, and it has the two folded modes. The front view is 6.6 inches, so about a 19:9 aspect ratio, and then 6.38 inches with the cameras facing towards you. So it uses the rear cameras as the selfie cameras. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But the 5 big differences between the folding phones are the display. So the Mate X has no notch on the display, and we get to see a little side-by-side of actual phones. So again, it's 6.6 inches, so it's bigger than a lot of the other fold phones. And then here's a Galaxy Fold. You can see the front screen when it's folded is smaller than the actual body of the phone, where the Mate X does a little bit difference by folding outwards instead of inwards. So pretty interesting design that they went with here. And here it is again, 8 inches versus 7.2 inches. So the Mate X has a bigger screen, and it doesn't have the notch because it uses the front cameras to fold in to get selfie shots. So that's a pretty big improvement in the folding phone universe, where there's only really 2 out right now. So pretty interesting. And then we have the second big improvement, which is the folding part. So this is the hinge we're actually talking about, the Falcon wing. So right here, there's actually a little indent you can see from the actual product page. So this is what enables it to fold a little more flushly and actually meet to be thinner. So here is it folding outwards again. So there's screen on both sides of the phone when it's folded mode. And it has apparently over 100 components to get this to work really well. And here are some of the thicknesses. So the thinnest part of the phone, you'll see a little like bar at the end, but the thinnest part is 5.4 millimeters. So it's thinner than other folding phones. It's even thinner than the new iPad Pro. So it has that going for it for weight wise and slimming down phones. And then folded, it is 11 millimeters thin versus 17 millimeters in other foldable phones. So it doesn't have the gap because the actual hinge is a little bit thinner, and it can meet better and meet up with the actual little bar. Here's the USB-C port is where you can charge it. So it's not built in here, so they could pack the extra 2 batteries in each side and the screen and make it as thin as possible. So pretty good for the folding part. And then the third big feature, which I have to say, is holding it and the ergonomic curvature for a natural hold. So again, the bar part is on the right side, so a little bit of the weight is leaned onto the right side of the phone. And if you're holding it with your right hand, it also gives you something to grip onto slightly if you think about it. So it can be held a little bit easier with just one hand opened, you could say. He's holding it with just a little corner there. So that looks pretty good. And then the apps is part of the features. So the Galaxy Fold has 3 apps usage at the same time. This right now is just using like a dual-sided side-by-side browsing experience. They could obviously add that on later, but it's basically 2 phones together. So if you know someone, you guys would only need 1 phone between the 2 of you. You could both do something completely different if you thought about it. So that's the third big difference. And the fourth is the cameras. So this uses the front cameras. This is the Leica triple camera that they also are using. There's one little change, but it's on the Mate Pro P20. So it is using the rear cameras as the front selfie camera. So it's literally going to destroy the DxO mark for selfie cameras. The Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus just actually did this also. They scored a 96, but if the Mate X uses the similar scoring to the Mate 20 Pro 109, and it would basically now again destroy the selfie cameras on the DxO mark score. So if you're into taking pictures, then of yourself, then you have a pretty crazy camera. So pretty good there. It has a triple cameras. It's a 40 megapixel, a 16 megapixel ultra wide, and then an 8 megapixel 2x telephoto. So that is, I think there's some specs right here for the actual camera. To double check that. So 40, 16, and 8, yes. So that is the fourth big thing, the cameras. And the fifth big difference between the two foldable phones is future of technology, 5G. So the fifth thing is 5G. So this is going to be a 5G enabled phone. It is going to be the world's fastest, apparently, sub 6 gigahertz at 4.6 gigabits per second, and then millimeter wave at 6.5 gigabits per second. And then here's your uplink speeds. And then it also can combine the NR plus LTE for a max of 7.5 gigabits per second. So you could do some really intense gaming or some remote surgery from the phone live, I guess. That's kind of the big thing for 5G, remote surgeries. So it's using the Balong 5000 5G chip. So pretty good there. They mentioned that this is already being produced. I believe the chip is already out, so it's going to be pretty easy to get in this phone. So that was just something else from the event. So those are the 5 big differences between the two phones, and then we can go into some other small little details for the like specs, battery, and all that. So let's jump into that some more. Here is a little spec sheet side by side. This is from Phone Arena. So here we have the battery, something we didn't mention. So it's a 4500 milliamp hour battery, so a little bit bigger than the Galaxy Fold. And storage is 512 gigs, so the same storage. The Galaxy Fold doesn't have expandable, but the Mate 20 has nano micro SIM card expansion, so up to 256 gigabytes extra, and that goes in the secondary SIM slot. So RAM is 8 gigabytes on the Mate, so 4 less than the Galaxy Fold at 12 gigabytes of RAM. And also, what else do we have different here? The pricing is $1980 for the Galaxy Fold, and then it's 2,600 or 22.99 euros. So, and then we have a roundabout date for the Mate X at mid 2019, where Galaxy has a April 26th set date. So those are the extra little small changes. Also with the battery, it has a 55 watt Huawei supercharger, so it gets 85% of the battery in 30 minutes. So this is apparently 600% faster than the iPhone XR. So I'm not sure why the iPhones don't have like a fast charger, but apparently it's an impressive charger. And the other thing that it kind of trades off is wireless charging. So the Galaxy Fold, I believe, does have a wireless charger, so you could just set it down. But in 30 minutes, you might as well just plug it in and then pick it up and go. So pretty big differences between two of the first foldable phones. Both are successful in slamming two phones into one and folding, so there's that going with it. Then you just have the price difference. If you want to pay another $600 for the bigger screen, higher resolution, no notch, and the little bit more the thinner fold mechanism, so 11 versus 17 millimeters, it would fit better in your hand holding in a folded device wise. And then the front facing camera, so that could be a better selfie camera, is the fourth thing. And then 5G, which the Galaxy Fold doesn't have any mention of 5G, if I remember correctly. I have a video on the Galaxy Fold and all the S10, a whole overview of that. So pretty big differences between the two phones, so pretty interesting. And then here's a couple little more specs from the actual product page. Here's the dimensions of the phone: 146 by 161, and then 11 millimeters at the thickest part versus 5.4 at the thinnest part. So pretty good. 296 grams. It's looking like interstellar blue. I believe there was maybe a gold or some other colors that it looked like in one of the videos. I can't remember if that was a leak or not, but and then here's the resolutions: unfolded versus folded. There's 2 resolutions for that, front and back. And then it is a Kirin 980 chip again, 2G all the way up to 5G multi-mode, 8 gigs of RAM. Here's the nano micro SIM card, I believe it's what it's called. And then the primary SIM card does 5G, where the secondary SIM does up to 4G, with the nano micro card being an option there to put in that extra slot. Connectivity, 802, USB-C, no headphone jack in either phone, so they're ditching that. They're trying to make everything as thin as possible in these folding first gen phones, basically. So they had to drop something. We'll see if it pops back up on another foldable phone. Camera 40 megapixels, front and back technically if you fold it, and 55-watt Huawei supercharger. So pretty intense phones. I think that covers all the notes that I have on the two comparisons. And that leads us into the last little bit of Huawei news from Mobile World Congress that happened today, is the MateBook X Pro. So this is a thin, small laptop with a little bit of power going on. So a 13.9 inch, this is a touch screen, and this is a 3000 by 2 resolution screen. So it's pretty good. 91% screen to body ratio, a thin bezel basically, and 100% sRGB color space. So some pretty good accurate colors apparently. And sharing, they did a little simpler. So they have an NFC in the right side that looks like, so you can share pictures or video, and you can just put your phone next to it and it'll instantly share. And then it has on-hop screen recording, and then a clipboard, so you can clip some text from your phone and then do the NFC transfer if you're doing some typing on the laptop and you want to copy some text real quick. You can share that pretty instantly. And then with the touch screen, there's I believe a 3-finger gesture they showed in the live stream, and you can do a little screen capture because it's touchscreen, and you can size the screenshot you want. So a couple little tech features that they added into this. And then the processor is an i7-8565U, so medium style processor for a laptop, pretty good for laptops in general, and an MX250 graphics, 2 gigabytes. So this is 3.5 times more powerful, they mentioned in the live stream, versus integrated graphics with just like a CPU chip. So 802.11ac for this laptop, and Thunderbolt 3. Here's the, I believe, power connector. I believe it charges with the, I think the same charger that you can use on the Mate X phone. So you basically now have a small little charger, plugs into the wall, and can charge either device at the 55 watts, it looks like. So super fast charging there. Here's some Dolby Atmos sound. And what is the price for this, you may ask? They did mention that at 5 minutes in this little live stream. So it's 15.99 euros and 19.99 for the more RAM and the 1 terabyte version. And then they both have the touchscreen. And this is, I believe, launching globally already and then coming a little later to the US. I think a couple reports said around spring for this. So a lot of stuff going on with Huawei, and we'll see if the foldable phone comes to the US. They're having a little bit of issues with US politics. So pretty impressive phone with a pretty impressive price, you could say. And that's that. We'll have some more Mobile World Congress mobile news. Some other phones will launch today, so we'll try to get out a second video, but we will have another episode besides that, 1 p.m. tomorrow Pacific, every single day. And we will be signing, we have SO Soy K saying, let's talk about the crease as well on the outfolding versus infold, please. So I believe there was a couple mentions of early prototypes having a wave, some issues with the fold part, but this is, again, 5 to 6 months out, mid 2019. So it looks like, and those were just a couple early reports. I didn't actually read too much into that, but the folding part probably won't sell at $2,600 if there's any issues with it. So I would expect that to not be a non-issue potentially. So with that, we'll be signing out. And pew 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 pew.